Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels to short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts. Good morning.
Good morning, Sarah.
Oh
Good to see you.
Good morning, Steve. Fantastic to see you as well.
I get all excited for our calls every Wednesday. I love doing this show, so I'm pumped up today.
I know, me too. Yeah, we've got a pretty cool lineup as well for topics today. So as you can see, it looks like we are both in our home offices respectively.
We're both here. A lot of projects going on, a lot of work going on here.
Yeah.
I was showing you behind the scenes. So listeners, I've got a book coming out here soon. I'll share the title, but you know, when you're working on something so creative, you get this book cover, you're all excited to see it from a designer. I was like, oh man, it doesn't match up with my vision. So now we got to work on that a little bit more, but you've done that a couple of times already. So
that I have. It is sometimes challenging to work with some creatives. Either some just like totally get your vibe and your situation and you, and then sometimes they don't quite hit the mark, but that's okay because it's also part of the creative process, you know.
Just keep whittling it down until you get something that matches. So,
and I always say too, in sometimes these instances where maybe it didn't turn out exactly like you hoped, sometimes it like sparks an idea that you hadn't even thought of, and you're like, oh, not quite the direction, ooh, but I do like this, so maybe we can do XYZ. So all part of the process.
Yes, we're gonna get there, and I'm excited to share it with all you listeners and viewers. It'll be fun to hopefully get it done by the end of the year is the goal. So you can start off 2025 with some great advice out there in the world of hospitality.
Well, hopefully I'm not too far behind you, but we'll see. We got a couple things in the works on this end.
A lot going on, but no travel for either of us this week.
I know.
But a lot of fun things happening. So I think we can be able to share some things maybe by the end when we get to the real-time recap.
The real-time recap. Yes, I know. I have definitely, I've been home a lot getting caught up on things. I have to say it's been so nice to catch up just because I really did. I mean, like it's tough. You know, we talked about this last week, how it's hard to kind of like keep up with things when you're traveling all over the place. Don't get me wrong. Love it. But you know, it's a challenge.
Today's the first day where I feel actually caught up from all the stuff that happened 2 weeks ago. So like, all right, I'm back. Like now I'm catching my breath.
Yesterday, I checked off everything on my to-do list, which never happens
by the end of today. That's my goal. End of today. But for listeners and viewers, you all are busy out there too. But where are you busy at? What city are you in? Where are you watching from? Where you're listening from? Give us the good morning here. We'd love to give you a shout out. But yeah, we've got some fun things to talk about. Why don't we kick it off? Because we got a lot of topics today.
Dive in. Okay, cool. So this first article was actually kind of interesting. It was on Skift and then shared around, but they talked about the ideal mix for hotel distribution. And what's kind of interesting is that they're really looking for direct bookings to lead that, which is great. We love that by 2030. By the way, when I read that, I was like, 2030 is so far away that I'm like, oh gosh, it's so
5 years.
It's not that far away. So this is interesting. So by 2030, direct digital bookings are expected to reshape the landscape of hotel distribution, overtaking OTAs as the primary channel for global hotel reservations. This is huge. And yeah, I mean, this shift, what they're projecting, it would generate about 409 billion in global hotel bookings through these direct digital channels by the end of the decade. So that's kind of a huge deal.
It's a gigantic deal. And we're starting to see it a lot now with like the boutique properties and some of these unique outdoor experience properties. I've been talking to a lot of them, and they are really getting the majority of their bookings through their social media channels, which have zero cost, right? Like they're clicking on the link, they can track the link taps that are being shown in their stories and in the things that they have going on, and they're seeing direct bookings through that. And so that's
Yeah.
cutting out the booking and the Expedias and all the places you used to go to, like, oh, I want to go to Miami Beach and let me see what they show me. Now people are searching on their social channels and seeing, all right, I like that place. Can I book directly there? And it's happening more and more and more. So I'm excited to see which hotels actually take this, because some, you see it because you're involved in this there, like the ones that keep doing the same boring stuff all the time.
Totally.
The others that are getting traction and really investing in the stories they're sharing, and you can see it with the views. So I'm excited to see how this continues to push, because it's a huge win for the hotels when they control that whole guest experience.
Oh, completely. And so it's not even like I mean, obviously there's the financial aspect of it. But it's interesting because not only OTAs, but they're even saying travel agents or travel advisors it will probably play a reduced role. Yeah, obviously still critical. It's not saying like doing away with that altogether. I mean, it's interesting because it's like I even have people that reach out to me and they're kind of like looking for recommendations. They're like, no, I'll do it on my own. And it's like, well, we can help. So it's definitely pretty, it's interesting to see the shift, but I also get it too, because it's like so often I'm doing stuff. We have so much access at our fingertips.
Yes,
and the more that you have things like Google and stuff like that, like helping
or AI and ChatGPT now, I just type in, hey, give me a 3-day itinerary. I'm going to this city and I'm going with these people and these are the age groups and this is what we like. It's been pretty dead on the times I've done it the last couple of months.
Just wait until ChatGPT starts making your reservations for you. Heck, it might already do that.
Missing piece. It can do it for a couple of things. It can suggest flights and show you things. You still have to finalize it on your end. But Lonnie, good morning. Good to see you here. I saw that you were getting some medical procedures you shared online, so hopefully you're okay.
Ooh,
and Chris, Chris, good to see you. But that's how we've always done it. That's the worst answer you could get, right? That's the most frustrating. I've been there. Steve, we don't do it that way here. All right. Well, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, totally. By the way, that is a challenge for so many industries. So, I mean, I know it's a big one in hospitality, but you're always going to have people that it's like that are just resistant to change. So, super, super interesting to see.
And I get it. Everyone's busy. I got to add another thing to my plate right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Try it. Add a little.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
So anyway, pretty interesting stuff. I like that article. And I don't know. We'll
keep track of it. Why don't we come back to it and see what they say? We'll start looking at the stats after the first quarter.
Totally. So, by the way, and just for like frame of reference, they're actually saying like right now, properties are relying on about 53% in direct bookings, and it would be looking like it might be about 34% by 2030. So just for like frame of reference. Yep. So it's obviously not meaning that, it would reduce indirect bookings by 34%. Yes. So exactly. Sorry about that. Whatever. I'm reading this backwards, but so definitely interesting to see. So
that's good stat. I think they're going to get it. They're going to keep pushing because it matters and you can control the whole experience. That's what hotels want. And that's what hospitality companies want. Let me control the entire experience from booking till you check out.
Yep, exactly.
You agree with me.
I do, of course. All right. So this is another great article that came out. Hotel CEOs are saying that demographics are the future of travel, and had to include this because this was actually a lot of what you touched on last week in your talk, breaking down different demographics. And obviously lifestyle hotels are going to be continuing to have their moment, but there's this sort of more of these options for quote unquote the middle class, this aging population. Like all of these are very much something that a lot of the CEOs of some of the prominent hotels are really focusing on. So I thought that was pretty interesting because they're talking about the middle class growth is huge as far as a share of the market. When we don't always hear that being a market that's growing necessarily. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I like seeing these hotel CEOs talking about the different demographics and who's traveling. And they're saying like the ultra wealthy will travel and continue to travel and book that ultra luxury stay. But now more and more people who are on a tight budget, they still want to travel and they are looking for ways to do it. And so these hotel companies, we've seen it. We've been talking about it for over a year of all the new extended stay and kind of like that middle tier pricing of hotels and new ways to travel, whether it's in those roadside motels that are now being turned into cool, unique properties. Like everyone's getting involved now in outdoor experiences. We talked about Hilton getting involved with AutoCamp and Marriott, teamed up with Sonder for more of like the apartment style stuff that they've got going on. And so everyone's kind of finding all these unique ways to stay so that they can help people travel at all different price points. So I like that they're trying to do that. But what was most interesting, as I thought, and I didn't realize this, was that all of the big brands have their own credit cards and they have visibility in how they're spending. So, they said like, hey, we have access to all this data and we see that people are prioritizing. Yeah, they're tight budgets and they're making their payments, but they're prioritizing travel and those spending. So kind of cool to see like all that info they have on those credit cards.
Yeah. I mean, the credit cards are huge. I mean, they're having a direct insight into literally people's wallets, and their spending habits. So yeah, no, it's great. And it's interesting, and we were talking about like CEOs, like from obviously Hilton, Marriott, they're all saying that this is the big focus. The CEO from Hilton actually was saying he believes that we're just on the precipice of the golden age of travel, which are bold words, but I mean, again, I think we're playing in a really interesting time. We've shifted through a lot of different things with hospitality. I mean, before it was very much like big box hotels. People knew what they were getting. Then, Airbnb in the home rental space, that was a giant shakeup, which, as a hotelier, I loved because I was like, look, you're adding more options to the travel pie. And now, it's taken some time. I mean, obviously more independent hotels, again, we've mentioned before, super nimble, but now we're seeing how, these hotels are with the diversification as far as what they're offering, understanding that there is a market for everyone and they're playing into that. And so, I mean, people like to have that choice, even down to that very unique hotel experience. So I don't know. It's interesting. They were actually saying, as you kind of mentioned, it's not just intuition. Like they have the data and the data, coming from the cards and other things. So they know they are playing towards it.
They know who's staying. They have gigantic, the membership points that they see, the credit card points and spending they see. They get to see the whole picture. So when they speak, they really have a view of the whole globe too, because they're not just based in the U.S. They have hotels everywhere. And so that's what's so cool is they're able to see like what's happening in China first or in India or in Latin America. And so they can have their eyes on everything. So I like seeing what they see business-wise because it does affect so many things when you have a hotel.
Totally.
Right? You have so many local vendors. You have so many things that live off of each hotel. So I love that. But excited to see the golden age of travel take off and what that looks like. And happy to be a small part of it if it does take off.
Ooh, golden age. Always something to look forward to, which we like. We like that. Okay, let's talk about what's happening. We're talking about the golden age of travel. Some other big things that are changing just in the travel industry altogether. So Apple has just made it easier for airlines to track lost luggage thanks to an AirTag update. Oh my gosh, it's like the heavens opened up finally. I'm like so passionate about this. So, okay, Steve, do you have AirTags? Do you use them?
I do. I'll tell you a story after if you want me to.
No, tell me now.
So when we were traveling to San Diego and flying back, I was in boarding group 9, and they said, passengers,
don't advertise that. Okay,
group
that's not
9. I didn't book my own ticket. The conference did. They put me at group 9, and they said, if you have carry-on luggage, you will not be able to carry it on. You're going to have to check it. Yeah. And luckily, I had lost my keys before. So I bought AirTags for everything, like my kids' backpacks, my luggage. So I had it on my keys and I slipped it into my travel bag. And so I could make sure I could track it because I was like, man, I got a connecting flight. Now I had to check in a bag. And so I was able to rest easily watching my bag make it with me. And then I tested it when it got to the airport and I was waiting for it to come around. It got closer and closer and closer until my phone started buzzing that it had arrived in front of me. So I love AirTags. I'm a big fan of them.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan. I've been talking about them for years. For those that have followed me on uh, my other channels, but definitely a big fan. But it was so interesting, and I've been very lucky. I'm knocking on all the wood that's around me. I've been very lucky with luggage, but I've heard a lot of travel woes that people had is that they could actually see where their bag was on their phone, and then they would be, talking to the lost baggage individuals at the counter, and they're like, sorry, we can't do anything about it, like our system shows it's just not here. And it's like, but it is here, it is here. And so to help kind of bridge that gap, this is huge. It's huge, and hopefully it'll help the airlines as well, but a lot of the big ones are hopping on board.
Yeah, all the big airlines are hopping on so that they can be more efficient. It's amazing that this hasn't been done before, but I love this technology and how it uses Bluetooth from other people's cell phones to ping your AirTag. And so you actually know where it is in real time. I wish I knew more about the technology, but I love using it. I know a lot of people are like, well, now they're tracking me. I was like, well, if you have a cell phone, you're being tracked anyway.
Yeah.
So just relax, put the tag in your bag. We were talking to Will Slickers, our producer backstage. He just bought some. There's a special deal out there, so maybe we put the affiliate link here. We'll start selling some AirTags.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Oh, good morning, Jim.
Morning, Jim, and then Steven Sinclair
from lot to say about this, I'm sure.
What did he say? So we know it. We have seen the airline lost and found buildings. The AirTag will be helpful, but airlines will have to modernize their own system to keep up. Well, maybe you're going to call Steven Sinclair and use his products because he has the best in the biz.
Yes.
For lost and found.
No, I love that. I mean, this is going to be such a cool feature. And, again, we're going to be seeing this more and more rolling out into next year. But
and for listeners too, if you have an AirTag, give us a thumbs up. I want to see if you've got, I was trying to get something to pop up on my screen. Can I get it?
Whoa. Oh, we got fireworks over there.
Let's go. So if you got AirTags, give us a thumbs up here in the comments. We'd love to see how many people are actually using it in their day-to-day.
AirTags. So I was saying this actually behind the scenes, but I do find it pretty funny. So I have them in all my bags, and I had a handle of a suitcase break a couple of weeks ago, and so I had to trash it because there was like no fixing it. And of course I did a whole sweep of the bag, but I guess I didn't find the AirTag that was in it. And so all of a sudden I'm tracking. Actually, when I was in Asia, I was like tracking my bags and stuff. I was like, wait, what's this random suitcase? It's not at home, but it's like, it's in where is this suitcase? I'm like, oh, it's up in Santa Clarita. I'm like, okay. So you can see there's this like suitcase that's all the way up here still to this day.
Still working.
I'm like, did somebody take my suitcase? That's somebody's home? So I like zoom in, and it is in a garbage dump, guys.
I think you should go find it. See what you see over there.
I mean, like, hey guys, my old suitcase. And by the way, it's been tracking like that for at least like 8 weeks now. And I was debating on like disconnecting it, but now I'm like, I just want to track it.
See how long it lasts. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
They are a must with his camera gear.
100%. That is a huge thing. So yeah, I mean, AirTags, it's kind of fun. What was funny, we also even put one on my mom's dog to just like keep track too, because you can actually get like, I mean, there are a lot of different uses for AirTags. And so it's always funny. And then I'll get the notification when I go visit. It's like, this AirTag is traveling with you. And I'm like, sure is. It's the dog.
We're about to get a dog, so that's a good idea too.
Whoa, we're just dropping all sorts of
big things in the life happening here.
Personal life bombs, not bombs, but you know what I mean.
Jim, what did Jim say here? Santa Clarita, where broken suitcases go to die.
Oh my God.
Suitcase.
I know. Oh, such a shame. I like the color of it too, but it's okay. Get a new one.
Well, Jim, I don't see Aer Lingus on here. They got to start working with AirTags here. So we'll see.
Come on, guys.
I'm sure it'll be on there soon. Let's get it done.
All right. So more things in travel. I love this. Have you heard of check-in chicken?
No, but I like it. Let's see what we're going.
Let's see.
Is it a
Okay.
meal? Are we eating
So
something?
it is not a meal. It is not a meal. Okay. So the big question right now, this big thing that they're talking about on TikTok is check-in chicken. And it's a boarding hack. And does it really work or not? So as you can guess by the title, check-in chicken, what people are doing, and this is more so for individuals that might be doing more of a main cabin or a lower priority seat. And that's not exactly the wording that I want to use for that, but you get what I'm saying.
You mean boarding group number 9? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. For people that are in boarding group number 9, like Steve,
Yeah.
what they end up doing is they wait to check in just a few hours before their flight, hoping that because they weren't able to actually choose their seat, hoping that when they go to check in, that the number of bad seats are all taken and that they will actually get an upgrade because that's one of the last seats that's still available. So there are people on TikTok that are saying, your face right now, Steve, is hilarious. There are people on TikTok saying that like 9 times out of 10, they're getting an upgrade because they're waiting till the last minute to check in. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's it reminds me of that quote from Anchorman where he says 60% of the time it works every time, right? And so it's like, all right, I guess I'm a single traveler and I'm willing to take a risk. I would do it, but if I'm traveling with family, I'll make sure I have my seats and I'm ready to go.
Okay, look, if you're,
but I like this idea of like, all right, let me try to hack the system because the experts are saying, yeah, we do prioritize to the back first. We try to give away the worst seats first to try to fill those middle seats. And so this is a way to kind of get out there if you're not paying up for changing your seats because now there's so many fees. Right? Like, you can get on this flight for $250, but if you want to select your seat, it's an extra $100.
And if you would like a window seat or an aisle seat, it's an extra $120. And then if you want extra leg room, it's an extra $150. No, I can't.
So
I cannot stand that.
Why don't you try it for us next time you go somewhere? I think you should do a real life experiment for us.
Of check-in chicken. I mean, sometimes I do kind of by default end up doing a check-in chicken if I change my flight at the last minute. But look, there's another way that's sort of like a safer strategy, which I will fully admit I definitely do, is checking in and then constantly going back and seeing how the seats end up moving. So sometimes, I fly Delta and then I'll get upgraded to Delta Comfort, but then they put me in a middle seat and I'm like, oh, yeah, I have comfort, but it's like I probably would have preferred to stay in main cabin and stuck with my window seat, but here we are in Comfort Plus in the middle seat. And so I'll constantly look and I'll see, let's say there's a lot of up spaces available in first class. So hopefully when they bump somebody from comfort to first class, if it's not myself, maybe I can go ahead and take one of their seats on the flight. But honestly, so much of it is automated that even if you do that, you actually do risk losing the seat that you're in. So that's another thing. I was traveling with a friend of mine, we saw something move and I was like, "Ooh, move your seat." And as he went to move the seat, the system had already booked it right from underneath him. And then he had no seat. So he had to go up to the desk and luckily they gave him one. But they can backfire.
Yeah, so it's like going to the casino. See if you can win at this check-in chicken. And
Check-in chicken.
Jim's saying, Steve, you and Sarah have to do a show from Ireland. Do the show from a luxury castle there. Listen, if Aer Lingus would like to sponsor this whole thing, we'll be happy to give Aer Lingus a shout out and do it from the castle. And Lou saying, airlines keep nickel and diming us. I book flights and then wait a while and go back and select seats that I want. And the premium economy 40 here, 45 there. So, all right. Interesting to see.
I know. Super. I don't know. I think this was so fun. I mean, the idea of check-in chicken.
That's fun. But they should have it though. I saw someone, I think it might have been our friend, Miss Stick a Fork in Me post. I think one of her comments was like, they should have a raffle, like a way to like everyone puts in $10 for a first class seat. And then only one person gets it at the airline and they announce it before you board. I would love to see something like that. I would do it every day for a chance to win
a raffle. So then they're making money on the upgrade as opposed to just give it. Fascinating. I mean,
I would bet $20, right? If I had a chance at winning a first class seat, and maybe 100 people are doing that. So it pays for the $2,000 seat and someone gets it.
Oh, and then to take it a step further, so it's not necessarily totally a wash, that $20 goes to like in-flight credit for like food or something like that, or
Yeah.
beverage.
Or I
I
wouldn't
would
mind losing it if I had the chance. Like I knew equally I would do that. Yeah, so you see, Blue would do
Mm,
it too. Like, I wouldn't mind. Like, let me just put in my 20 here. Let me put it on the table. Let's see where this gets me. Right?
we are
Can I get
not
that?
out here promoting gambling in everyday life.
No. You know where I got this idea from too? Because I saw her talk
What?
about it.
Yeah.
So you're gonna laugh. So for during the pandemic, I got back into buying basketball cards. I have a collection of
Okay.
cards, sports cards,
Okay.
and it's called breaking. So some of these packs are hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and people can't afford to buy them. So a group of people will get together and say, "I'm putting $20 in, and I want to get, this team's card, whatever shows up." And so if you don't get that team that show up in that pack, you don't get anything, but the other people get something.
I,
So it
I
gets you
get it.
access to getting into something that maybe you couldn't afford full
Oh my
price of.
God. Jim, especially on flights to Vegas.
Yeah, all the tickets like
Oh,
that. We're going to start
Lou,
a
that
new
Jim
program
is
here.
fascinating. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Wow, we've got some creative peoples on today.
So not gambling, it's just donating. Yeah,
Oh my God.
we're paying for something that we might have a chance to get. All
Yeah,
right,
this is
let
true.
us know. We're happy to do it. I'll do it.
Oh
I'll
my
put
gosh,
it in
this is
everything.
great. Drop that in. All right. Let's talk about a real-time recap. What have you seen out there in the streets of hospitality?
So in the streets of hospitality, uh, I have a lot of things that are going on here, but I will
Yeah,
say
let's hear
I've been more and more involved in hotel developments recently in consulting.
Mhm.
And it's very exciting to work with the architects that are putting these things together because they're
Mhm.
dreaming up spaces and ideas. And it's so funny because one of the architects I was talking to said, I create this space and this is how I envision it being used. But then once it's open to the world, guests use it a completely different way that I had
Yeah.
never even imagined. So just a shout out to all the people that are creating these awesome spaces we get to travel and visit to. I now have a kind of an eye on one of these big projects, and it's just fun to see it take creation from the start. So anyhow, that's my shout out to the people creating the places and spaces that we all love going to.
But, and it's interesting because I'm sure there might be a little bit of a like, "Oh, I was hoping the space would be used in XYZ way." But at the end of the day, like, it's gonna take a life of its own, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool and creative. And we see this, by the way, also happen with, hospitality tech. People design something for, that's like a tech piece that's gonna do XYZ, and then once it's out in the real world and practice, they're finding that more people are using it for something else, and so then they end up double downing on that, and that's how the product grows. So yeah, that's really fascinating.
It's fun
um
because I'm doing that now for the glamping project I've been working on for a year and a half. Now we're talking to engineers and designers, and they're convincing me not to do certain things. I'm like, I didn't think about that. In my head, it would work this way. They're like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, no, it won't. I was like, okay. So anyhow, I love that.
Yeah, love that. Well, I'm gonna do a shout out to a very specific property, the one hotel right here in West Hollywood. I was over there a couple days ago, and I have to say, and actually almost ties into what you were saying, is that obviously like the lobby area is cool and all that, but I mean it is a vibe over there. It is so cool, and they've fully embraced catering to the work from home crowd, the people that don't have offices to go to. And every single time I go there, all of the couches, all the entire seating area is taken up by people that are there working, and they've got their cafe open all day long. People are ordering smoothies, this, that, whatever. And I love seeing it every time I'm there. I'm like, man, I need to come here more often. This is just such a comfortable, cool space. So it's not necessarily new in that sense, but it's always that reminder of like what you can be doing if you create that environment. I mean, they're making money in their lobby just because they created a comfortable space to hang out in, versus other lobbies that I see that are fine.
Old,
It
yes.
ends up being a waiting area, but they're not making any revenue from that. It's very different. So big shout out to my friends over at the One Hotel, Raul, among others, in West Hollywood. Chef Ginger Pierce, she's
Yep.
amazing also. The culinary director there. So love what they're doing. Oh, and I also love that they have their little like fruit basket. Like I was there
Out front,
and
yep, the farm stand.
yeah,
I just talked about that.
Really?
Remember this talk I was given? So yeah, beautiful.
Exactly. By the way, I totally had an apple that was like pink on the inside. I was like, what is this?
Ooh,
This is so cool.
fancy.
How fun. So
I have a redo. I have a redo after you finish.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm finished. Redo ahead. Go away.
It was my anniversary for my wedding anniversary this past weekend. And my wife and I went to the Carolina Wellness Resort here in Miami Beach. I had never stayed there, but we had a 4-hour experience in their spa, which was like life-changing of all the things going on in there. And then the rooms were fantastic, but their entire team was just ultra nice. And they gave us so many nice little perks and things like that. That was just really enjoyable. So if you have the chance and you want to feel recharged, we got frozen in their cryo chamber. We then went into their salt chamber and got salted. We got charged in their electric room to get energized with negative ions into a nice massage. Into a meditation pod that you were floating in. Man, I've never had anything like that before. So if you have the chance, make sure to check.
What a great way to celebrate and unplug.
Yeah, and then go home. It was the first time where we were laughing. Usually we go party hard on our anniversary, and then you have to go home the next day, and you got the kids, and you have all these things to go. We went home like, let's go, we're ready. We're charged up.
I love that. Well, happy anniversary, and I love that you were able to kind of celebrate that and make it like a full
Matrix Steve Lou. That's how I felt. I felt like Matrix, especially in the electricity room. They're like, no metals or phone in here. They may explode. So I think it worked. I don't know. I felt good.
I think it worked. That's amazing, though. Hey, there's a lot of great options out there. I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, so I had to give another shout out. Thank you.
Thank
you for letting me have a redo.
Okay? Yeah, you can have all the redos you want. Okay, our hospitality quote. Do we have this ready to come up on the board here, or do I need to post?
There it is.
Okay, the great advantage of a hotel is that it's a refuge from home life by George Bernard Shaw. I like that.
You were just talking about it. Why you go to the one hotel? To go have a different scene and be a part of something that's completely different.
Yeah.
True. Every time I walk into one, I feel like, especially the one that you walk into, they all have different vibes and different scenes, and you can feel like, all right, this is the kind of life I want to lead today. Let me walk into this hotel and work from here today, or hang out here and grab a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. I mean, like, that's a really a great way to shift things up is just to go have a coffee somewhere. But love that.
You never know who you're going to meet, especially in these places. I meet so many fun and unique people every time I do it.
That is actually the biggest thing that I miss from working in hotels and being in the, I would meet so many cool people. And so now I work from home more often than not. And every so often I'm like, man, it would be kind of cool to be out and about. But yeah, it just depends. But definitely take advantage if you have a property and you are not fully utilizing your common areas as creating an area that people want to come and hang out in or do work in, you're missing out. Look into that.
Yeah. We wanted to create a lobby, right? That's where everyone used to hang out, in the lobby. All the lobbyists used to talk and try to push things.
Exactly.
So, anyhow,
at the Willard Intercontinental. Oh my gosh, I love this. What the Chris said. Wait. Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. Good quote. Unless it was like a place where he recently stayed where the shower felt like a box.
Yeah, maybe not, but maybe they had a cool lobby and you could hang out in there.
I know, that's funny.
Cool rooftop. And Lou, now it is only us cool folks online. That is not true, Lou. We meet in person. Come see us. We host events and do all these fun things.
I will probably see you next year, Lou. I will probably see you next year at a couple of travel and adventure shows. So we will.
That's true.
We'll keep you posted on that. All right.
Well, great show. Are we gonging out? I'm trying to figure out our sign off. I'm gonging out, everyone. Have a great week.
Oh my gosh. Gong out.